From 1999 to 2010, the suicide rates among Americans aged 35 to 64 rose by an astonishing 30%. More people now die of suicide than they do in car accidents. The CDC didn't include reasons in their report, so I thought I would run down the problems that these Americans have been facing over the past 10 years. Technology is playing a huge role. The age group who saw the largest spike in suicides is also the age group who is feeling the most alienated in the society that we live in that's now dominated by the internet and the constant presence of computer screens and the fact that we rely on them so much to succeed in the workplace and in our everyday life. It goes back to that old saying, it's really hard to teach an old dog new tricks. And even for the people in that generation who have adapted to the new technologies, they aren't out of the fog of depression yet, because we see with new study after new study that the more time Americans spend in front of their computer screens, the more they feel like they're isolated from the rest of the world. Now, when we take a turn and we look at the politics and the economics behind the spike in suicide rates, it's clear that the Bush administration and the Republicans have been screwing over Americans for the past decade. During his administration, the bottom 93% of Americans had their social programs cut and saw their savings evaporate in the housing crash thanks to the GOP's deregulation of markets, while the same GOP fought to cut taxes for the wealthiest Americans and put the burden on those who had lost the most. The Bush administration also failed to invest in education and sciences like mental health throughout this lost decade, and instead spent trillions on sending the sons and daughters of the bottom 93% to war after the traumatic events of 9/11. Now, all of these reasons that I just laid out come from one source, and that's the conservative libertarian mindset that we're all in this on our own. And that's why we have to remember that participating and engaging in our democracy to defeat that mindset is a matter of life and death.